I'd like to welcome you all here tonight. We're just a couple of minutes away from beginning the meeting. Before we begin, I'd invite you to stand, join me in the pledge, and then I'll bring the invocation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pray.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given us. Thank you for the city in which we live and where you've planted our lives. God, thank you for the many blessings, the way you protect us, the way you provide for us. And God, we just ask now that you guide us as we make decisions that affect our residents. And God, we ask that those decisions be pleasing to you. And we ask these things and trust you for them now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. All right, I want to call to order this regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. This is Tuesday, October 8th, 2019. We do have large print agendas over here. Mike's holding them up, if that would be helpful to anyone. And now I'll ask our city clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Sprouse.
Here.
Amelia Williams.
Here.
Jeff Watson.
Here.
Mike Overton.
Here.
Colby Fulfer.
Here.
Mike Lawson.
Here.
Rick Evans.
Here.
Brian Powell.
Here.
Kathy Jaycox.
Here.
Ernest Cate.
Here.
All right, thank you. Everybody's here. And we're at item 4 on the agenda. If there's anyone, this is the portion of each council meeting that the council sets aside to hear comments from our citizens. If there's anyone that would like to address the council, we ask that you come to the microphone, clearly state your name and address. Please keep your comments brief, and know that we won't, the council won't take action on anything you have to say tonight. So is there anyone that would like to address the council concerning something that's not on tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of minutes. Council, you've had an opportunity to look over the minutes. If there are no changes or additions, I'd entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item 6, we're doing something a little different tonight. We didn't have a heavy agenda. We didn't have any agenda. Matter of fact, that'll all change, I'm sure, by next council meeting. But our stuff for committee's already rolling in, I've heard. So, but 2018 bond projects, I see Chief Irwin up there to start things off. We're just going to give our residents, give you and our citizens an update on many of the projects that we're doing with our 18 bond that was approved a year ago, February. Chief?
Mayor, thank you. Council, thank you. Just a couple of updates on what's going on. Obviously, I put slides together. You guys know me, and I put slides together to kind of tell the story. There's a lot going on. We've got apparatus in. We've got one station open. We've got another station well under construction. We've got the training center that we're meeting with the architects and the construction manager next week to look at preliminary plans of that. So there's a lot going on. But I figured I'd kind of break it down and kind of give you an idea of what we expended up to this point. Station 7 opened July the 11th, 2019. Total expenditures for that total build was $3,054,944. We had actually budgeted a little more than what I showed down there, but that's what we had kind of came in and said we ought to be able to get that. So we budgeted $3,172,110, so we came in a little bit under budget. And everything has been purchased for that building. We're done. So I think we did pretty good with Station 7. Station 8's good progress. We just poured a bunch of concrete in the apparatus bay today. To date, we've spent $960,168, and again, we budgeted $3,172,000. I don't foresee any reason why we're not going to come in under budget on this one as well. So.
Do you remember what the not to exceed was?
3.25, I believe, something similar to that.
Okay, thank you.
And I think we're going to come in very similar to Station 7.
Okay.
Everything's rolling along really well. Station 9, we haven't begun yet. We have expended some money on it. We paid back the parkland for that corner, that 3-acre portion, for $33,125. We've got that budgeted just a little bit higher because we don't know what prices are going to do, but we've got that at $3.2 million. Training facility, again, the architect has been selected and working. Craft and Toll. Construction manager is Flintco. They will meet with us with preliminary drawing next week. I think we meet on Tuesday at 11. The estimate to that's about $2,016,000. So we'll see what we end up with on that. Apparatus, everything is in on this list other than brush 7, which is due to be here sometime, we think, the end of this month, first part of November. But after that, we'll have everything in this list completely purchased. That total you see down at the bottom includes everything on the list. So even though we haven't paid for the brush truck, we've already taken that off of the bond already. Total expenditures for apparatus and the equipment was $2,794,166.84. And we just received the technical rescue unit, which is the upper right-hand picture, yesterday.
Is that, it looked like that's at 2?
Yes, that will be at Station 2. That's our technical rescue station that we try to load that with our technical rescue experts, so. Radio project, again, this is kind of a joint project. You guys okayed this with kind of a combination of using it's part of the criminal justice funds, part of the fire department bonds, and then some CIP as well. The total cost for this project was $4,318,986. It is with Motorola with the AWIN system, which stands for the Arkansas Wireless Information Network. It's that Project 25 compliant radio, which meant it was interoperable. We hired a consultant to help us with that because there was a ton of details in the Motorola project that was way above my head and most of the others. So we hired a consultant. To date, the fire department spent $12,211 on that consultant. We will get a bill next week because all of our equipment for the 2 tower sites will be rolling in probably the end of this week. And that's one of the milestones where we have to make a pretty significant payment. So just so you're aware.
What's the location of the 2 towers?
One of them will be on Dodd Mountain, the other one will be on Children's.
Chief, before you move on, can you break it down to what, pay for all this, what came from the bond program, from the fire department, and from CIP?
Both of the bond projects are criminal justice, which was $2,568,677, and the fire part, which was $630,108. CIP fund was the remainder of that you guys okayed for a little over $1 million.
Right, thank you, I didn't see that.
If we come in how we're thinking we're going to come in, we're going to have about $400,000 left. Don't panic, we're not going to give it back. We got plenty of other things that we need to work on. I think we're going to be a little bit short on the training facility, so we'll probably try to roll that into that a little bit. Right now, we haven't really entertained the idea of any furniture, fixtures, or equipment for the training facility, and we'll need to look at that. That's probably where we'll try to spend that. Questions?
The apparatus slide that you had,
Yes, sir.
what did we budget on that? How did that fit in?
We came in all together with equipment and everything. We actually added some equipment for the ambulance that we got, because if you remember right, we added another ambulance to the fleet. And that came to the tune of almost $54,000, so we added that to that. We came in about $73,000 over what we had projected.
I'm going to go ahead and say something publicly that you and I have talked about. I know there's a possibility for some, in the future, for some improvements to Station 4.
Yes, sir.
It would include acquiring a piece of property behind it, my old house, actually. I'm thinking about that $400,000, and for us to spend bond money on that house, we would also have to do something,
Correct.
drive or parking or something where that, and raise that house. But just something I wanted them to hear. I think that's probably our next station to rework.
Yes, sir.
It's in a great location.
Where is it?
Where's Elm Springs Road is?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm talking about, doing some improvements.
Springs Road, there on the corner of White and Elm Springs.
It's, yeah,
It's the house directly behind
the
it.
house directly behind.
We're
is-
waiting on the appraisal to come in.
Right. So we may acquire that house and raise it. It'd be nice if we could have some drive-through bays and expand the kitchen and some other things.
It would.
To Station 4. So just know that's out there.
I wish you would have driven the technical rescue truck tonight. Can you
tell me what that is again?
Basically, that's all of our specialty equipment that we use for rescues. Like if we need a rope rescue, if somebody's trapped up on one of the water towers that we need to bring them down, that unit would go because we have all the equipment on that. If somebody gets buried in a trench, it's got all that equipment on that. Any type of hefty extrication, in other words, if we had a semi over on 49 that rolled over on a car where we needed a lot of lifting power, that's on that vehicle.
We didn't have something like that at all before.
We did, but it didn't house hardly any of the equipment. It just wasn't big enough.
Okay.
So we've ramped it up, and this will probably be a wonderful fleet unit for 25, 30-plus years.
How often do you think it would go out on a call?
We actually only send that out on calls probably 12, 15 times a year, all total. But it sure is nice when you need it.
Yeah. Any more questions for the chief?
Thank you all very much for your support, and thank the citizens for their support.
Thanks, chief. All right, Brad, you ready?
You all should have a summary and a timeline.
Brad,
Get in that
I know.
microphone.
Just have to remember, I can't hear, I over here can't hear.
Okay.
Need the microphone, please.
We have 16 street projects currently either complete or in progress in various stages. If you'll remember, we had 30-something at the beginning of the bond program, and we had a public input session, and we kind of prioritized those. These tend to complete improvements that were proposed in the master street plan. Basically, everything's moving pretty smoothly. Things are moving through design. Land acquisition's going smoothly for the most part. We've had a couple of bumps, and we've even got utility relocation kind of moving one right after the other.
Brad, at what point do you think we would be comfortable enough? Which other projects do you feel like need to be bid before we get serious about possibly the next phase of Gene George to the north? If the council wants to do Don Tyson Parkway to the east, I don't know, there may be other projects that they've thought about, but I know we've been holding any design work back on those two projects because we wanted to see how our money was setting after more projects got bid.
Ford Avenue should be coming up soon. It's ready to go. We're waiting on the Corps of Engineers to approve a wetland mitigation plan. I would say when we get that, we'll be able to see how things are trending. We came out kind of underestimate early in the program. Costs are beginning to creep up. I think the last one, Maple Street, was slightly right about where the engineer's estimate was. So I would expect costs to begin to creep up. So I'll feel better as we get more of these done.
64th and 40th are two that jump out at me that are going to be big projects.
They're in right-of-way acquisition, so those should become, Ford Avenue, 40th, and 64th will probably be the next ones up.
Okay.
This information is on the website for anybody who wants to look it up, and we'll probably add an index map.
Okay.
So instead of just project numbers, they'll be tied to a location.
Is this saying that pump station will be done then in 20?
Pump Station Road is an RDOT project. They'll be doing construction.
Say that into the microphone. That's a good question, Amelia, because there's going to be a lot of people want to know.
That,
An
I will
update
be
about that.
flooded with that
Yeah.
question.
Pump
When
station
the
road.
completion of Pump Station Bridge, because here it's looks like it says November 2020, but
That's the latest that we've gotten from RDOT. The city's responsible for right-of-way acquisition and relocation of utilities. We're in that process. There'll be just a couple of utilities to move that won't be significant, and a few pieces of right-of-way to obtain. And then, as soon as we have that documentation for RDOT, they should be ready to move ahead. My understanding is that we had a session with them where we went over the plans. There were a few comments. They're back finalizing those plans, and they said they should be ready to start construction. They said the end of this year or first of next year. It's more likely the first of next year, I would say.
I think we got for a project that's dragged out a lot longer than anybody really thinks it should have. We did get some good news, I think, on how we're handling the
funding?
The funding for this. We had thought, if y'all remember, council, I mean, we were willing to do whatever we needed to do from day one to get this project moving. And because it was a highway project or RDOT project, that us having the money and being willing to pay for it really didn't matter as far as the timing. It still had to go through the same process. But now we have learned, we thought we were going to have to pay it and then get reimbursed, to reimburse our bond, street bond, after they got the federal money. But it sounds like we're not going to have to do that. It sounds like we're not going to have to front that money. We'll have a match, won't we? Is there a match to this? 20%?
I'm not sure. I need to check that. I know
Okay.
we were responsible for
Right-of-way and-
the right-of-way and utilities.
Right. We'll get you an answer on that, too, as far as I don't know if we have to come to you for a 20% match on that, but it's a whole lot better than what we first thought it was going to be, where we were going to front all the money and just hope we got it back. So, helps our street bond for sure.
Any questions?
Who's doing the construction inspection on the 48th Street?
We are.
Oh.
Yeah, we're doing 48th Street and the streets around Shaw Park, and we're helping with some of the other odds and ends, site work at.
You're also doing the park, aren't you? Are you inspecting that, or are we?
Sounds like yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're helping.
How about Watkins to 64th? Who's doing that?
NWAC handled that.
Yeah.
Oh, they're,
It's finished.
That we did that through NWAC. We partnered with them, reimbursed them. So I'm assuming McClellan probably did it, the inspections.
all right, looks good.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong line, Ford Avenue. That's what I meant.
We haven't
That
lined up
hadn't been
inspections.
selected yet?
Hadn't been selected.
Are we going to use a third party to do that?
Yes, we'll do that. We've pretty well maxed our guys out for now. 48th Street is a small project, so as that winds down, we may be able to roll them out to another one. But we're covering what we can cover right now.
But we haven't brought y'all a contract yet for the inspection. Forward. I guess that'll come when we're ready to start.
Huntsville Street looks great now that it's been restriped. You can see it at night, you can see it in the rain, it looks fantastic. And I've
Yes.
gotten a lot of comments on that, so.
I have a teacher friend that,
publicly thank you for that.
she was like, wonderful.
That
Good
wasn't
job, pat
bond,
on
that
back.
was Public Works, but
We might want to look at some other parts of Don Tyson. You know, that section between, you just did the section between Thompson and Turner, which was, the stripes were almost all gone. There's I've gotten some complaints from the west side of Thompson, so
we've got money in 2020 to do some more striping, so we'll prioritize what we need to do.
good. Any other questions for Brad? Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, sir.
Can I answer a question?
Yes.
You asked about starting some more projects. We've got $47 million, or $67 million in projects underway, and I'd recommend we hold a minimum of $6 million in reserve.
Are you talking about street projects?
Yes, but we've got $13 million right now. Now, holding 10% on projects that we don't have under contract and 5% on projects after they go under contract. So that number will change a little bit as we get more bids and more contracts in place. But right now, our money that's not set aside for reserve is only about $6 million.
Okay.
So that could handle one or two of the projects.
I think the decision that we're going to have to make as we go to more projects, for instance, on Gene George, how far north do we want to go? Do we just want to make the connection? Do we want to go try and, if the money's there, try and go all the way to county line? There are a lot of, because that can be built at whatever level y'all want to do it. So we've got a lot of flexibility,
Yes.
but we just need to decide when the time's right and when we're comfortable.
For $6 million?
Yes, sir.
Saying for $6 million?
Well,
It's
for
not set aside.
6 million plus another 6,
Well, we're holding
13.
13.
13 million, but I recommend that we don't go below 6 at this point.
So I
But
basically,
6 million would be available right now to
Right,
start
7.
planning.
correct.
sounds more like 7 million to me.
Well, you need, part of it is because you'd need to increase the reserve if you started another project.
Yeah.
So, what are the options on that? King George,
If you decide Gene George is the priority over Don Tyson East, which it is for me, but I don't know if it is for everybody.
so those are the two options?
Well, those are the last 2 projects we really were serious about that we haven't done yet. There may be other projects out there that we haven't, but on Gene George, we could just build from Elm Springs, from the roundabout at Elm Springs north to Bob Mills, where Bob Mills turns into 56. At least then we've made the connection. I think that's the minimum we need to do, in my opinion, on Gene George. You could build it all the way past, is that that subdivision on the left as you're heading north?
Saddlebrook?
Saddlebrook? It's got a widening already in the road. You could maybe go to that. Or if we could do it and fit it in the budget, depending on if you want to hold anything back for Don Tyson, you could do, we might could get Gene George all the way to county line improved, but just a lot of options.
I'd like to see the traffic study on both of those roads before I made an option,
And
made
Don
made a
Tyson is
decision.
from Haberton farther east,
Haberton and then curve to the north, it'd go east and then curve to the north. And
all the way to 412?
Go to 412. That could be done in pieces too, but not as easily. You wouldn't really accomplish anything if you didn't go all the way to 412. I don't think. But there's a lot of housing going on
I
out
was
there.
going to say, is the developer doing anything?
I think they're doing what they need to get to their stuff.
So when do we want to discuss that?
Well, it sounds like we need to get maybe another thing or two bid, unless y'all want to,
Need to get a better handle on where we stand on all these other
would agree with
projects.
you want to at least wait until we bid forward, since it's close. And then let's revisit it. And I mean, we do need to be we want to be careful, but probably the sooner we can get this going, the better. If Brad's right, and if he thinks prices are going to continue to go up. So,
So there's not any chance the 13 million would go up, is there?
We'd have to,
If we save something somewhere,
somewhere else.
We've come under on just about everything.
We've come under on everything except for the last one.
Reserve has to be held until these projects are complete, because we never know what's going to come up,
which is
so.
the 6 million.
And we've done, you know, in Wyman, I got to give Wyman and Laura some props here too. They've done a great job investing.
Well, you say we have to
Quite a bit
hold the
of-
reserve till, what, the very end, basically is what you're saying, but what happens at the very end?
Well, we will have already spent our required, by that time, we will have already spent our required 85%. So we can
Be selective about what we want to
select
spend.
another project.
Start
expand-
planning for it.
or, yeah, expand the project, so.
You know, we can still have 23 million at the end of the 85% requirement, because they look at the entire bond issue. And most of the other projects will be finished, the road projects will still be going.
Is Courtney here?
Yes.
Okay. Come on up.
Sorry, it's been a bit of a whirlwind day, kind of snuck in late. So in terms of the animal shelter bond project status, the design has been completed. The architectural firm that we used was SCM Architects with Shelter Planners of America as our shelter consultant. We are working with Napolz as our construction management team. And as you may know, we had our groundbreaking today, so it was very much fun, and we're very excited to see the progress that's already being made.
Had a great crowd.
Yeah, it was a pretty good crowd. It was awesome. So dirt work has begun, and we still have an estimated date of completion near August of 2020. So,
Yeah, 11 months approximately. Yeah.
yeah.
Questions for Courtney?
Was a great job today, though, Courtney.
Thank you.
You and your staff did a great job for the groundbreaking.
Well, I'd also like to give a big shout out to Ashley for organizing most of it. She really helped hold my hand and get through that, because I've not done that before. So, hey, despite the rain and the mud, it was still pretty fun.
Well, you probably won't ever do another one, so
We better not at that price.
unless you're here a long, long time. All right, thank you, Courtney.
Sure.
Chad, you ready?
Thank you. I guess we'll start with Shaw Park. We have spent $474,000 on design work, and they are about to get started. The groundbreaking will be October 21st at 2 p.m., I believe. And the actual cost will be around $10.5 million for the whole park. Tyson Park, we got $5 million set aside, and we're still in the design phase, what we're going to spend it on. And we'll have some meetings upcoming to decide that. And we will not go over $5 million, right? That's what I heard.
Well, it's up to these folks, but
what I heard.
that's been my target, so.
Okay. The main thing there is getting ADA compliant and field lighting and some amenities, dog parks, basketball, sand volleyball, stuff like that. We also spent $225,000 on the land for the animal shelter that hopefully we'll build a little small park there on the end of it. And that was paid out, I believe, last year, somewhere like that. Security cameras, they are all installed at Willie George Park and Murphy and Aquatic Center. Everything's working. We still have to tidy up some cameras and stuff like that, but they're good to go.
From where are they monitored?
Pardon?
From where are the cameras monitored?
In my office.
Do they archive?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so somebody doesn't have to be sitting there watching them all the
No,
time? Yeah.
no. And, yeah, you can go back, I think, 30 days or longer. And
Where did you say again they were?
Willie George Park and Murphy Park. and the Aquatic Center.
So is there any, there towards the library area?
Yeah, the whole park, I don't have any pointed towards the library, but all the pavilions, the bathrooms, the pond.
Do we have security going forward for Shaw Park, for Tyson? You know, when we're redoing these parks, are we including security cameras in that?
Right now, we're not. We're gonna have it ready to go, but we didn't have enough money to
Okay.
put those up. We could probably put it up to, you know,
That might be something we want to look at if we have some park
Extra.
bond money left,
okay.
so that we have it at
How much money would that be to do that?
a big area at Shaw. It depends on how many cameras and
To update all of
The
them?
total that we spent was $248,000.
And that was for those 3 areas?
Yeah.
For that, okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. A lot. So,
Chad, are those cameras on 24/7?
yes. Well, they are, but we got hit by lightning the other night, so, yeah, we're out at Willie George Park, but
I
yes,
presume they'll be repaired shortly.
yes.
that's an insurance deal, isn't it?
Yeah, they're coming out tomorrow, actually. Okay, everybody knows about the All-Star Sports Arena. We purchased that this year for $1.955 million. We've begun a lot of improvements there. The turf that you all approved was installed today. They should be finished Thursday. The lighting is up in the soccer area, and we're going to get the rest of the lights to do the rest of the building. The netting will be the last thing that goes up in the soccer, and then we'll be fully done with that. I expect that to be done the end of this month.
Painting looks great, pictures look great.
Right, and, yeah, and the blue paneling.
What about the moisture and stuff? I know that was such a big deal, and we were doing the slab and all of that. How'd that turn out?
Oh, the concrete?
Concrete.
Concrete helped a lot. I don't know
Yeah.
how, you know, before it was
We
producing
still
a lot
have
of humidity.
temperature problems in
Right.
there, don't we?
Humidity, we checked it for like 2 months, and it was like 46%. And back before we did it, it was like 78. I mean, it was,
Great.
you walk in there and you sweat, but,
What are we doing
But
on
we
heat
still
and air?
don't, I was gonna say, we still. don't
well,
have
I knew
heat
that was
in there.
coming. I'm still getting quotes, and it's quite a bit, and I don't know, maybe something we might want to do a section, and then maybe another section, unless we have, you know, enough money.
How much is quite a bit?
Well,
$1 million?
yeah,
or-
yeah, it's up to,
$100?
yeah.
Chad,
So,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Say you're getting bids? So
Yeah,
how, quotes, how is, because we've been talking about this for quite a while. I know it's complicated and big, but I think probably there's not a member of this council or the mayor's office that didn't get calls about the heat and other circumstances this past season. So winter's coming, so now we're
Yeah.
going to be freezing.
right.
So when do we expect to hear?
Well, as soon as I get my last bid from Multicraft, I'm gonna go look over it and then get the 2 previous bids and see if they're equal, apples to apples. And then I'll decide what we want to do, or I'll let you all decide, and then we'll have to probably bring it to the council.
How much is left in our bond for the?
1.8, after everything's
That has
said.
to cover. You can't do, that covers parks and,
That's just parks.
that's just parks.
1.8 will be left.
So we can't spend any of that.
For the All-Star,
You can.
whatever we call it. What are we calling it?
Right now, it's a Springdale Rec Center.
The Rec Center, okay. So if there's 1.8 available?
You said to the park.
Well, yeah, once we, yeah,
Oh.
rec center.
Yeah, it can be spent
Don't want to do
anywhere.
that.
Mayor, you're going
But
to
then that would take away maybe like the dog park at Tyson
Well, or
I mean, I'm just giving
Luther
examples.
George, or,
Or someplace else would have to give
right, like,
if we took $1 million.
yeah, like at Tyson, if you want to go up from 5 million, you use some of that. But it can be, yeah, used for anything.
Mayor, you can't really piecemeal the heat and air, because if you do that, the first set of equipment's basically going to be overworked and worn out by the time you're ready to install it. If we're going to do it, we need to look at the whole complex and get it all done.
I agree, but I would defer to
Oh, and naturally, we need to look at the
Multicraft
numbers.
and see if, you know, if what they think, but I think you're right, that makes sense to me, but we just thought we would get it divided up and see
Right.
if, you know, if you've got that center section in between, and
But you're not going to do away with the heat losses and gains for the whole building if you don't condition the whole building.
well, I'd certainly rather do it all at once,
Yeah,
so we'll get some prices and see what y'all want to do.
okay. And then the last thing we've done with our bond money is Bobby Hopper Park lighting. It's fully done. We're using them, and people enjoy it.
What was the price on that?
$277,
Or soccer fields?
yeah, for the 2 soccer fields.
And it is well used.
What?
It is well
Well
used.
used.
So, is that it?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about, do you have any thoughts on our tennis courts? Seems like all of a sudden, they have just always been covered up. I don't know what's going on, if there's clubs, or
There-
what,
Right, there's clubs out there renting it out.
is that what it is?
Yeah, and we got some programs going also with tennis, not during the evenings, but,
Uh-huh.
during the day. And yeah, I noticed that too. And
Yeah, it's
and
just all of a
the
sudden,
light-
it's
Yeah,
just-
the lights at Tyson, they're not very good. They're, 30 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
not every one of them works. I mean,
So
there's
would that be
one or two
something that we'd be looking at with the Tyson money?
Yeah, that's part in
Now,
there.
that'd be part of that lighting package.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about more tennis courts? Have we thought about that
Well, we got 3 more coming in
at Shaw?
at Shaw.
And I've made an observation at Willie George, the parking, people are parking all over the,
Neighborhoods?
Grass.
the plants
Oh.
and the curbs, and so the trees, the shrubbery, the plants, or whatever that, and I have film on it, so I'd be glad to share that with you. But if is there any way we can use any of this any money to expand the parking there? Or is there any direction even to go without losing a soccer field or a football field?
We've talked about it, and really, if you wanted to buy land right across the street to the north, there's a little open field there.
Yes, yes.
That was a thought. And then maybe north of the football stadium, or football field, you could get, 20, 40, something like that. That would help, but it just wouldn't, we didn't get enough parking there, but that was,
Yeah, when you've got everything going on, plus a splash pad
yeah.
Right.
on a hot day.
Yeah,
And the dog
we
park.
cringed when we got all those fields going.
But if you get your parking too far away, people are still going to park.
Well, and if they can park in the grass or whatever, that's fine, but then let's not spend our money on but thank you. Let's not spend the money on the bushes,
That's right.
and trees.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah, I've got one. What all do we have left that we need to do at next level, except for the center section? I know that's going to be a whole different game, but I mean, as far as getting the rest of the lighting, and what were the bids on the heating and air last time? The other two that you've got, like what's a ballpark on this?
850,000. And that doesn't include the electrical upgrade. So it was over $1 million total. Back to your other question, on the roof is going to need repaired fairly soon because we patch it every rain event. And we're making some progress on that, but eventually that whole thing needs to be.
Which building?
Next level.
Portion, all of it?
Yeah. The basketball and the soccer area's got leaks. The baseball side area, we haven't ever seen any, so we're good there. We still need to get sport courts for the baseball side, and I'm getting pricing on that. We have to move all of our weight equipment to the north wall where the batting cages were. But we have to get that designed too. And also we need to get some more equipment to do that, so.
And I know you've given us an estimate of what everything is going to cost, but if we could kind of maybe get something that says, this is what's left, these are the most important, and how much that costs. I personally would like to see that before we discuss anything with, maybe with what we met about.
The lighting, y'all have been doing yourself. We saved a lot.
Yeah, right. The lighting, yeah, we got it up already, and then I've already ordered the rest of the lights for the gym and the baseball
It's
side.
come in way under what our first estimates were
Right,
on that.
right.
So,
We could finish the lighting and the heating and air and not even worry about the sport courts right now, can't we? I mean, that seems kind of
Well,
a
the problem with
tertiary
that, the reason why we want to get those is because when we have tournaments, our members don't have anything to do. So you get the 2 sport courts, and that's just members only.
it
during
just
those-
may have to wait though.
Yeah.
What's a sport court?
It's,
Pickleball.
well, you can play it's just a court.
I really don't know. I think it's pickleball.
Yeah,
think
plastic
it's
vinyl thing, and it's got all the lines on it. It's got pickleball court, lines, volleyball. So you can play multiple sports on them. And pretty neat.
There are goals there.
Yeah, well, we haven't brought them down. They haven't been brought down
Yeah.
in probably 10 years, so I don't,
Because they used to be 2 courts.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, sport courts, HVAC,
Sports court have vinyl flooring? What kind of flooring?
yeah, just, it's some kind of rubber thing. It's kind of like a puzzle. They put it together, and we need to still paint the basketball area and the baseball area, which we can do that ourselves. Lighting will be in, and then, dressing up the basketball area. That's what we're planning on doing. But I'll get a list of what we want to do and the approximate cost, and let you all look at that.
Well, I tend to agree with Colby. I think the HVAC and then lighting, and then y'all continue to paint.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, lighting will be in by then, probably here in the next month or 2, before your first game.
How's the membership going out there?
Pretty good. I don't have the numbers here, but a lot more than we had at the old center.
That's encouraging. That's really
It
good.
is. We kept it the same price, and eventually I'd like to probably raise it a little bit, just because of the,
Have we marketed
Facility.
it? Like, do people know when they come in there, do they know that that is the city's
yeah.
facility? I
Yeah.
mean, everybody's pretty aware of that by now.
Well, yeah, because they get their,
People my age.
they get,
Because they don't read the paper.
well, maybe not your age, but, they come and get the green bags, so a lot of people come in there.
Gotcha.
Another question for Chad? Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
Keep it between the ditches. We've got a lot going on. Wyman?
We're in our 13th week of construction on the criminal justice complex.
They're in the process of finishing up building pad A and B, installing a new water line, a new sewer line, a new gas line, and pouring piers, and just, there's at least 15 people out there working every time I look out the window. They're making good use of the weather good weather we've had. So it's progressing. Our target is to be finished with phase 1 in 52 weeks. On the entire bond projects, we've spent $19 million at the end of last month. Last month we spent $1.6 million. The first week of October we spent $2 million. We've got more projects coming online, more projects gaining speed and everything, so we're going to start spending money real quick and fast. But we've got everything balanced and every project accounted for and financed.
Probably not in a position or don't have answers yet to say too much, but we remind everybody that we are pursuing acquisition of the properties across the street.
One of the properties has indicated they're going to accept the appraised value, and one of the properties has retained a lawyer, and the third property hasn't responded yet.
Third of the way home.
How much money have we made on interest investing that money?
We've made right at $4 million investing the construction money.
Is there a restriction on how that's used?
It has to go into the fund that earned it. So it adds to each one of these construction funds. And
You can get you've got a breakdown. You can
we've
show them a
estimated
breakdown.
how much money we're going to earn on each one of them. For instance, on the street projects, we've estimated we're going to earn about $2.7 million in interest during that period, and we've programmed that part into the plan for the expenditures. And I'm monitoring it monthly to make sure that we're going to be able to achieve that goal.
That's been baked into our estimates. I mean,
Right.
it's part of that number that we're working toward, that we're working on.
And when did you say that estimation of completion date would be?
For phase 1, 52
2020.
weeks.
A year from now.
Which
Then
will put
we'll
it-
move and
So October of 20-ish.
It should be in about July next year, July or August.
So that 52 weeks was from the beginning of the project?
From the date we gave them the notice to proceed.
Right, not from today.
Right.
Any other questions for Wyman? All right, thanks, Wyman. All right, anything from our department heads?
Okay, he already mentioned Shaw Family Park, groundbreaking, October 21st, 2 p.m. We also have a public meeting coming up for the harbor extension that's going to go from 48th to Gutenson. That will be October 24th at Central Junior High from 5 to 7 p.m.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. Council? Anything? City attorney?
Nope.
Nothing here. Got a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion second, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Except when you're